Welcome back to another Fantasy Goodfellas where we talk about the top 30 running backs for Week 9. But before we get started, we always like to review how we did for Week 8.
In Week 8, we had Aaron Jones at number 3, who didn't play. Number 22, we had Carlos Hyde. And if Chris Carson played, it would have been Chris Carson at 22. Neither played. So because of that, we have 28 players left. And of those 28, we got 19 right. A pretty good week. Guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, Melvin Gordon, Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson just missed the top 30 because he got hurt, So DeAndre Swift, we had a few disappointing games. But 19 of 28 is pretty solid.
So let's get started for the top 30 running backs for Week 9. The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
And number 1, we have Dalvin Cook, home against Detroit. Ryan, what do you have to say about Dalvin?
Despite missing 1 week due to injury, Cook is the number 1 fantasy running back in standard leagues. He has 652 rushing yards, second only to Derrick Henry, 11 total TDs, and had a monster game last week.
And number 2, Derrick Henry, home against Chicago. And number 3, Alvin Kamara at Tampa Bay. And Kamara is having an unbelievable season. Ryan?
Alvin Kamara is a PPR monster. He has 55 receptions. He's on pace for a record-breaking 126 receptions, 987 combined yards, and 7 TDs. He's just a monster.
Yeah, he's got a tough matchup this week, but he is so consistent. And number 4, Christian McCaffrey. Boom, boom, boom. CMC is back at Kansas City. We'll see if he's 100%, but even 90% of Christian McCaffrey belongs in every top 5. And number 5, James Conner at Dallas. Good matchup. You mentioned it. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, James Conner is going against that Dallas defense that's not very good. Definitely not good against the run, so he should be running all over them.
And number 6, James Robinson, home against Houston. James Robinson has been the fantasy stud on a bad team. And number 7, Chase Edmonds, home against Miami. Chase is up against that underrated Dolphin defense, but he is the everything back right now in Arizona. And number 8, Todd Gurley, home against Denver. Todd Gurley getting a lot of carries, will continue to do so. And number 9, Josh Jacobs at the LA Chargers. And number 10, Ezekiel Elliott, home against Pittsburgh. Here's a guy whose fantasy stock is dropping.
This week's fantasy player stock is falling.
What is going on with those Cowboys? What do you have to say, Ryan?
Yeah, it's not looking good going against that Pittsburgh defense that's ranked 6th against the rush. It's going to be another tough week, so all they got to do is stack that box, and he's going to be shut down.
The reason why Elliott's still in the top 10 is because he will get touches. And number 11, David Johnson at Jacksonville. This is a good matchup for David Johnson, but how would they use him? Is Watson just going to go crazy with the passes, or is David Johnson actually going to get some carries? At number 12, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, home against Carolina. He's still the guy, with Kansas City. Le'Veon Bell's going to steal some carries. That's still a great offense. Hopefully he gets more opportunities this week. At number 13, we have Justin Jackson, home against Las Vegas. Here's a guy coming out of nowhere, right? Eckler was supposed to be the guy.
Yeah, well, he would be a top 15 running back if he just got a bulk of the carries. Last week, he had 142 total yards.
At number 14, Damien Harris at New York Jets. It's evident he's the guy now in New England. He has a good matchup. Number 15, Myles Gaskin at Arizona. He's going up against an Arizona run D that hasn't been great. But Myles Gaskin is not a powerful bull either, So he's the guy with the Dolphins, and that's why he's at 15. At 16, Antonio Gibson, home against the New York Giants. Here's another guy that's been established now as the guy. He's going to get his touches. At 17, David Montgomery at Tennessee. Montgomery has been good, actually, on a bad Bears offense. At number 18, DeeJay Dallas at Buffalo. Here at number 18, we'll take whatever Seattle back is healthy, right? In the pecking order would be Carson, then it would be Hyde, then it would be DeeJay Dallas. Right now, it looks like DeeJay Dallas is the only one that's healthy. At number 19, Leonard Fournette, home against New Orleans. We called it. He's the guy now with Tampa Bay. At 20, J.K. Dobbins at Indianapolis. This is a tough matchup, but Dobbins did a lot with the touches he got last week, and it looks like he will get a lot of touches again this week with Ingram out. At number 21, Jonathan Taylor, home against Baltimore, and we're hard-headed. We like Jonathan Taylor. At number 22, DeAndre Swift at Minnesota. Ryan, what do you have to say about DeAndre?
Swift kind of disappeared last game, so we're hoping that he has a bounce-back game. He is going against the Minnesota defense that's ranked 19th against the rush, but that's not how Swift gets all his yards anyways, is strictly running. So we expect some passing yards to kind of go on top of that.
Number 23, we have Zack Moss, home against Seattle. We called it as well, Zack Moss over Singletary, and Moss and Singletary pretty much shared carries, except Moss got the red zone carries. At number 24, we have Gus Edwards at Indianapolis. There were plenty of touches for both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins to be in the top 30 this week. We think it's going to happen again, even though they're playing a tough defense. That is an offense that just likes to run, and there's always that threat from Lamar Jackson. At number 25, JaMycal Hasty, home against Green Bay. It looks like Hasty's going to be the guy in San Francisco right now. He's going to get the bulk of the carries. It looks like that offense was actually better with Nick Mullins. At 26 is one that we got wrong. We got Phillip Lindsay at Atlanta. We thought Melvin Gordon was still going to be the guy over there, but he might still be the guy, but Phillip Lindsay outplayed him in week 8, so we're going to rank Lindsay a little higher. But then who's at 27? Melvin Gordon at Atlanta. They both get a decent matchup. Even though Atlanta's rush defense has been decent, that defense is bad in general. So I think there's going to be opportunity for both Lindsay and Gordon. At 28, Wayne Gallman, who's going to be the guy with the Giants, and he's playing the Redskins this week, which is a decent matchup. Devin Singletary comes in at number 29. We just talked about him. And at 30, Jordan Wilkins out of nowhere. I don't know if they think he's going to be the guy now in Indianapolis, or whether Jonathan Taylor was hurt and therefore they had to defer to Jordan Wilkins, but we got to put him in our top 30 if he's going to get as many touches as he got. So Ryan, that is our top 30.
Well, again, thanks for coming on here and putting this list together. I know it helps me go over this and review it, so I appreciate you sharing your top 30, even though you give some secrets away to your own fantasy lineups.
Okay. Good luck to everyone.
All right.